family. Yeah.
Speaking of quarterbacks, crazy enough, next year will be 10 years since Colin Kaepernick took a knee.
Man, you say things that make me feel older than
10 years. And as we all know, that got the whole world's attention. And alongside that,
wow.
You still have the role as the executive director of the NFLPA. Colin takes a knee. When do you get a call?
That night. Remember, he sat on the bench in the first preseason game. He took a knee in the second preseason game. I'm not watching preseason games. And I get a call from my communications director, George Atala, great guy. And he says, hey, Colin Kaepernick took a knee during the anthem of the preseason game. And I said, okay, when do I give a statement? Because for me, he may not have understood how this was going to play out.
Yeah.
And I think, frankly, and I'm not castigating him in any way. It'd be impossible for somebody in that position to know how it's going to play out. I'd been through, Spygate. I'd been through Deflategate. I'd been through Ray Rice. So I know what league apparatus is on its way to demonize him. So I felt it was important. It was a Saturday. I felt it was important on that Saturday night to give a statement to the nation. And I'd read a couple of his postings, and I, again, it's the messaging, right? This is not about the police. This is not about the flag. This is not about the military. He is protesting what he sees as gross injustice connected to police brutality. And that's his message. And you want that for two reasons. One, I'm leading a group of young men, and I love the idea of them sometimes more than I love them individually. Once again, I have a son. But I want them to read from me what the message is. Right. So that hopefully when they get hit by the question in a locker room, they don't say anything that is not completely thought through. Right. And look, the reality is, and it might come as a surprise. It might come as a surprise for people who haven't been in locker rooms. It probably won't come as a surprise to people who have spent a long time in the locker rooms. Locker rooms are far more conservative than you think. They just are. Yep. And it doesn't really break down on race. It might break down a little bit on class, but it's not binary as outside of the locker room. So I know I'm dealing with a rather conservative group that is going to skew more pro-military, more police, more Republican. And I want that message to be the right message. Right. So that's what we did. And I knew that it was going to play out the way that it would play out. But I will say, for the 3 years that we represented Colin, he obviously had his own personal lawyers, and it was his own personal lawyers that made the decision to settle the case. That's a whole different thing, as we would say. But I would say this, for the 3 years that we were in that, and also representing the players who chose to kneel and protecting their right for free speech, those are the best 3 years I had in the office.
Wow.
Why?